Yeah, the Lionesses' final group game is tonight. It'll be live on talkSPORT 2. They're taking on Wales. It's a local derby at the Euros. Very much looking forward to it. And joining us now to look ahead to it is talkSPORT's England correspondent, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, and talkSPORT Wales correspondent, Abigail Davies. Courtney, firstly, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm very well. How are you?
Yeah, really good, thanks. And Abby, how are you getting on?
Yeah, I've put a few two-footed tackles in already, so we're getting in there early.
Off the long run up, Abby.
Oh, good stuff. So, I mean, for England, of course, a win guarantees them progression through to the next round. Wales are all but out, really, aren't they? But it's an interesting situation, Courtney. And what I wanted to ask you about was the fact that if England comes second in this group, they're likely to take on Germany in the next round. Sorry, the other way around. They're going to play Sweden. If they come first, they'll play
Sweden.
Germany. So how do they kind of play this? Because they do need to win to get through.
Yeah, I don't think, in terms of that, they won't be looking at that in terms of, right, well, if we finish second in the group, we're going to play this team. And that's not the way it works. When you're in that mindset, when you're in that tournament, you just know it's about winning. You want to finish at the high, as high as possible in the group. It probably looks like, in all honesty, that they'll probably finish second, England. But yeah, I don't think that's a mindset at all in the players or in the camp in any way, shape or form.
Courtney, what I thought was very impressive against the Netherlands is like the change in tactics, because Hannah Hampton, she wasn't frightened to go long into Russo, when the press was on, and her delivery and the weight of her pass was absolutely exemplary for both the first and third. I know the third goal was from a goal kick, but the weight of the pass was perfect.
Please remain standing.
Yeah, it was. I think, Hannah's her distribution is probably one of her biggest skills, and I don't necessarily think it was a change in tactics. I think it was actually an execution of the game plan that they wanted to play against France, but I think France were very good in terms of their energy, their high press, and they limited England to be able to do that. I think when you look at, England when they play well, that's what they want to use, Hannah Hampton, her long passing. So yeah, not necessarily a change in tactics, actually just executing what was wanted from the France game, but didn't happen.
Abby, in terms of Wales and their tournament, obviously it was always going to be very tricky, especially in this group of death. But those scenes when Jess Fishlock, of all people, scored that first goal at a major tournament, it was just incredible, at age 38 as well. But, she's still the youngest scorer for Wales at a major tournament, that should be pointed out. But, I mean, they're going to be throwing everything at this, aren't they? It's against England, it's at a major tournament. Just how tricky could they make it for the Lionesses?
Yeah, it had to be Jess Fishlock, didn't it? Everything she has done for this Cymru setup over the years, she really has helped drag them out of the mires. When you think of where Cymru have been, 2019, the first ever time they got to play with their names on the back of the shirt. 2005, they were withdrawn from the Euro qualifiers by the FAW because of financial constraints. So it's difficult not to focus on the positives and everything that it's taken to get them to this point. That's why we saw such huge celebrations when Fishlock scored that significant goal in Cymru's history. But it is going to be such an uphill battle to get anything out of this game tonight. I think our memories go back to 2018 in a World Cup qualifier where Wales drew 0-0 at St Mary's, and it was seen then as Cymru's biggest ever triumph. So that just shows how far they've come over the years. But in terms of the press, in terms of the energy that they're going to bring, it certainly was better on match day 2. And you mentioned Hannah Hampton. Well, Sophia Middleton-Patel, that's one of the reasons she was brought in for the second game. I thought her distribution was excellent. Yes, people are going to focus on the individual errors that she made throughout that game, but her handling for large spells and her distribution really helped Wales, whether they went long or whether they went to play it across the back as well. So yeah, there are certainly ways that Wales can hurt England today. It is all about, though, being more clinical and making the most of those chances when they are able to advance into deep areas, because that's something that has been lacking both in the Nations League campaign prior to coming here to Switzerland and since we've been here. They've been getting up deep, but they've not really been able to trouble the keeper as much as they should have.
Just hold you there for one moment, because there has been a goal in the pre-season friendly between Preston and Liverpool. John Dunn.
There is 7 minutes remaining. It's Preston 1, Liverpool 2. Liam Lindsay, the Preston defender, a powerful header from an Ali McCann corner from the right-hand side. Moments before that, Daniel Jefferson, on loan from Bournemouth to Preston. He had a great shot that was tipped onto the bar by Freddie Woodman. A loud roar from the Preston fans as they find the score sheet. Preston 1, Liverpool 2.
Abby, you mentioned Wales' 0-0 draw at St Mary's, and they've never beaten a top 10 nation in their history. The only chance I think they've got is if they make this game as niggly and as physical as possible, and they have to cut out those individual errors which come down to concentration.
Yeah, absolutely, and we've seen it in both games, haven't we? Conceding just before and just after half-time. You mentioned it being niggly, though. What better game to be niggly in than Wales against England? You expect it to be a dogfight. You expect that from a game like this, and I think we will see those elements playing a part, but it's that midfield battle as well, isn't it? And Harrod James is going to be crucial. I expect to see Hayley Ladd coming back in, because even though she wasn't at her best in the opening game, we know she is so good at breaking up the play, so she's going to need to be on it, and as is Kerry Holland. We've seen how she can destroy defenders down the right hand side. If she is on it with the ball at her feet, she is so technically gifted. She's going to be crucial as well this afternoon.
Courtney, talk to me about Lauren James. What a performance it was against the Dutch. And obviously there was so much talk about heading into the tournament whether she would be, used as someone coming off the bench, but she's started both those games and really has justified that decision from Sarina Wiedmann.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure who was saying about her coming off the bench. It certainly wasn't me, because for me, Lauren James is a generational talent. If she's 70% fit, she's better than 90% of the players in the world. That's how good she is. She's technically gifted on another level to most women's players, and yeah, look, she does everything right. She's that little bit of magic that we need, and I think that's what I always say about Lauren James. She gives us something within this Lionesses side that no one else can bring. That magic, the fact that she's so good off both feet. She can play in different positions. She can play in the 10. Obviously, she played off the right the other day, so she's a little bit of magic. And obviously, if we're to get through to the quarterfinals, then she needs to start today, because I don't think this is a foregone conclusion. I think a lot of people are talking about this game and have gone, wow, it's a fantastic performance against Netherlands and we're through. I don't think that, because we've seen the other side of it against France, and if we play like we did against France, Wales will be able to do a job on us. They're going to make it difficult. As you say, there's going to be a lot of needle, a lot of players that play with each other or have played with each other previously and in the WSL, so they all know each other inside out. This isn't going to be an easy game for the Lionesses.
Courtney, you mentioned there the game against France where England lost actually the midfield battle. Georgia Stanway wasn't particularly in that game, but she was back to the Georgia Stanway that know it against the Netherlands. She was better in possession. So I think she mentioned, obviously, about Lauren James, her outstanding individual talent, but I think Georgia Stanway is going to have a big influence on this battle.
Yeah, she is, and I think also that influence comes from Ella Toone playing on the 10, because she's got bags of energy as well. So when Ella Toone's in that 10 role as well, it helps everyone in that midfield. And for Georgia Stanway, I didn't know whether the fact that she had the injury at I think for most of 2025, so I didn't know whether that was sort of playing a part in her performance. She just didn't seem to have the legs against France to get up and down the pitch, like a lot of the players did. And by the way, Georgia Stanway was by no means the worst player on the pitch, but you're right, she was excellent against the Netherlands. But all on the pitch, to be honest. The energy level was the thing that I keep going back to. You can talk about the technical and the tactical, but it was about the energy. It was night and day from France, and to sustain that for 90 minutes for the Lionesses was incredible, and they're going to need to do the same tonight.
Right, I'm sure you two now won't be speaking until about 10 o'clock tonight, but thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Thanks
Hopefully being stood next to the Portaloos talking to you guys won't be the highlight of our day.
Well, never know.
That's where TalkSPORT sends you.
Yeah, there we go. There's the budget. There we go. There was Abigail Davies, talkSPORT's Wales correspondent, and Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, our England correspondent. And that big game tonight is live on talkSPORT 2 at the Women's Euros. England against Wales, 8 o'clock kickoff. Adrian Durham will be your host, and former England striker Tash Dowie will be alongside Joe Shannon, as well as the former Wales assistant coach Rhian Skinner. And don't forget, after the game as well, Darren Bent and Tash Dowie will be taking your calls on the full-time phone-in. That was thanks to McDonald's.